It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artist In Piercer answers some of the more common questions that those that collect tattoos and piercings may have. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo and the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. Well, we have the usual crew, the motley crew, the full crew, the wrecking crew, starting with Jimmy St. John.
What's up, guys?
We have applause on that.
Yeah.
You should be using it.
He never gives it a yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tattooist at the Skin Kitchen. Next to me is Jack Lowe, owner and operator, and of course, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen.
He ain't lying.
Also known as Captain Jack. And I'm DaVo, body piercer, owner of the Axiom. And then to my other side, Brent Starr, tattoo artist at the...
Yeah, everybody gets applause but me.
Oh, I didn't get applause.
Or a rainstorm.
What is this? Is it rainstorm? Yeah, I don't know.
Or you did wrong.
Tattoo artist at Skin Kitchen Tattoo. And we're going to continue. This is going to be like our second part of the answering the tattoo and
Reddit.
piercing questions on the Reddit.
Yeah.
I didn't read it, so these are fresh off the
obviously they're liars.
steaming pile that is the internet.
Yeah, it's true.
Reddit's most burning question.
Gonorrhea questions.
All right.
Sounds like it needs
Paul
to.
Harvey.
All right,
In a
Jess.
moment.
This is
We'll have the
Jess, our producer. That's
She's my better half.
Oh, now I'm the producer.
Executive
Executive
producer.
producer.
Son of a bitch.
assistant, I think.
Although you don't really produce
I don't know. I
anything.
don't want it to go to her head.
All right, now.
Anger and hate, maybe. You produce
Yeah,
that.
I
well,
do.
Yeah. Loathing.
Yep.
Fear and Loathing in Des Moines.
You see what God did to us, man? God didn't do
Beer and Jesse.
You did it. I knew it. You're undercover narcotics agent.
All right. Does it hurt more to be tattooed with a large or small needle?
I'll jump in on that one first. I've worked with mostly small groupings my whole career, like singles and threes. I've used a 5 for lining maybe 50 times in 28 years or whatever it's been. So I don't use large groupings much. And what I found is the smaller the grouping, the more intense it can be. My thought on it is it's kind of the difference between someone or you getting hit with the point of a spear at 10 mile an hour or a fist at 10 mile an hour. Like, it's more spread out and a little more, less centralized on this tiny little micro point than kind of spread out overall. And that's the only thing I can really think that is the big
But
difference.
they both have their advantages and disadvantages.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's...
the liner's a little more concentrated and it's more direct and intensified in one little area. The mag, if it's a bigger mag, doesn't hurt quite as bad as like the fist. But when you're shading or coloring, you're going over it so many times.
Were we talking about lining or just overall?
It just asks
says
for this.
overall.
Okay.
And they said size. There's not
The size of the needle?
Well,
okay.
yeah,
There's
like
not really a difference in size. With you guys.
7 mag.
Yeah, there is.
And a 25
Okay.
mag.
Okay, but that's
You
the
cover more
groupings.
ground.
Well, there's...
What's the amount
I
of
don't think they're
space
talking
as damage is being done?
diameter.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
why I just want to clarify.
Because there's only like 3 different sizes of tattoo needles. There's like bug pins, 10s,
No,
12s.
there's about 5 or 6
Oh, is it?
now, depending on the company.
yeah.
But
Okay.
no, yeah. So
But like, when you're doing that mag, it's raw, man.
Yeah.
Like
'cause
if you're doing
just
shading, once you get it where it's kind of there, it's not so bad, black and gray. But when you want color, you're
digging.
layering and going over and saturating that thing. And it don't care if you're using 1 needle or 1,000, dude. It's needles and it hurts
It's all on fire at that
Yeah.
point.
at that point.
it can be. But so the amount of needles, in my opinion, once you get beyond a certain point, I don't think there's really a big difference.
It all
So
hurts.
when it comes to lining specifically, like any shader, unless you're using like a 5 mag or something pretty tiny anyway, I don't think it's a huge difference. Most people say the outlining hurts worse, and typically the outline has less needles, more concentrated, but you're also working on fresh skin. You're not kind of acclimated, and you're not, everything's a little more intense. So there could be, so I don't know if all of that is tied to number of needles. It's more kind of timing and when it happens, maybe. But yeah, I would say a single needle liner overall probably done by the same person.
Yeah.
So you get cut out as many variables as you can. Probably a single, I would say, as a notch or two above. You
To
know.
me, when I'm getting lined, it almost feels like it's being cut because it's so
It has that
concentrated. It's
razor-
that line.
It's like a laser.
Yeah, even though you're perforating, it feels more like a cut. When you're shading or coloring, it's more of an abrasion because it's
Like a
spread out.
scratch.
But like I said, after a while, even that, when it gets raw, like I don't care if you're
It
making a
all
line
hurts
or a
bad.
broad stroke. It
So
hurts.
good point. Yeah, depending on the amount of time you've been getting tattooed with it, it all hurts about the same.
Yeah.
But that being said, there's been there's times when you finish a tattoo and you need to grab your 3 or your 5
Oh,
or
when you
your
put them
7
white highlights
to go in and do some really nice tight, and that'll pucker up your asshole like
Yeah, man.
frickin' that. You
You're
know?
laying a razor blade cut basically into that raw flesh already.
Yeah, it's like if you
Oh,
got
God.
if you had a wound and somebody started kind of poking it with a
With a
needle.
stick.
Yeah, and people just look at you too like, I hate you.
But it's but remember, it's a flesh wound. It's not not a mortal
Just a flesh
wound.
wound. Yeah.
It's an abrasion really.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all relative. Yeah,
Right.
it hurts worse, but it's still within that realm of getting a tattoo, which
Exactly.
is far removed from a lot of things.
Yeah, and the area you're getting worked on makes a big difference too. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Your tolerance,
There's a lot of
your
variables when it
amount of
comes to
sleep.
pain.
How did you eat today? Are you in a
Yeah.
fight with your girlfriend? Did
yeah,
you
how's your
you know?
mood? All
Yeah.
that.
How
a
will
lot
you
of-
handle it and what your experience is with handling pain?
Yeah, all that stuff comes together. You know, and like your throat's going to feel way more intense than the top of your outside of your forearm.
More than
It's,
likely,
you know,
yeah.
different areas. different
So
organs.
yeah, there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
All right. Are there certain things you do for ticklish clients who can't sit still?
I tell them to sit the fuck still, just louder.
Have you ever had anybody that's ticklish?
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's just as bad as them being in pain or anything else because it's causing them to lose concentration. It's
And
causing
move.
them to move around.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it's usually
no
in-
better, really. I mean, it makes, I guess, you feel a little better because you're not torturing them in a painful way, but you're still torturing them in a.
Yeah.
It's
in a
torture,
certain way.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a big brother, you know how much torture
Tickle foot.
Yeah, you get to the point where you can't even breathe because you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you piss yourself.
Hold you down,
And
tickle your teeth.
Even though
Yeah.
you're laughing, you're coming up with ways of killing them and making
Yeah,
them
pretty
suffer.
much.
But it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually on the piercing side of it, I'll come across women that are for some reason really ticklish around the navel. And I have unlike with tattooing, I have the ability to go, okay, we're going to tickle this area for a minute, and then we're just going to leave it alone. You get it out of your system.
Do the Pillsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, I guess. But I get paid by the hour, and
I know. And it's
I
like
don't
I
wanna
said, you
burn-
couldn't just
Yeah.
okay, let's get it out of your system. It's a little different.
And a lot of times it is around the belly or ribs,
Yeah,
but
kinda
more belly and thigh, kind of upper thigh areas.
Pillsbury
is where
Doughboy area.
a lot of mostly women. There's obviously some guys that are like, oh man, it just makes me want to. I don't know. There are some spots that hit you, and that's why I think acupuncture is so popular.
Possibly.
Right.
Well, at least it's endured this long.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as popular here.
How do you feel about inking intoxicated customers?
You can't. It's
Yeah,
illegal.
it's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do it in the state of Iowa anyway. If I feel or you're under the influence of anything that alters your state of mind, it's illegal in the state of Iowa for me to apply a tattoo to you. So as much as whether I care or not, which I do because tattooing intoxicated people is a total
pain in the butt.
it's terrible. You know,
They don't sit still.
They don't sit
They
still.
talk too much.
They don't
more.
listen. They
Yeah.
bleed more.
It hurts more because they've taken an amplifier, so their whole mental issues and everything else is just
and
amplified.
they don't focus on they're getting a tattoo, so they're way more flippant. They move way more.
Yep.
And that's different than tattooing your buddy after the convention in your hotel room and you're all
Yeah, it's a
know
different
the deal.
circumstance.
But yeah,
it's usually
not a good
But
idea.
the people that come in that try to get tattooed when they're drunk are usually people that are not heavily covered.
Nope.
No, yeah, there are people that
They're-
need that liquid courage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they think that it's gonna. That somebody told them, "Oh, just go get drunk. You won't feel a thing." Those are the.
I've seen it at
it's-
Sturgis.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. And Sturgis is
We had a
almost,
guy my first year come in, and he comes in and he's hammered, and he wants a tattoo, and Buzz is like, "It's Sturgis," So Zez gets it, and the dude gets a great big yellow, full-colored Tweety bird flipping off on the side of his head. And he's a bald guy, and he gets it like from his ear to the top of his head, huge. Oh, it's badass! It's so cool, And he comes back like 2 or 3 days. He's like, "What did I do?"
Yeah.
Like, this probably wasn't a good idea.
Exactly.
No, probably not.
Nope.
But you got it.
That's what happens when you have an amateur drinker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
when you're
it's-
drunk, ideas seem way better than they really are.
Well, and you know you're drunk, and you know that when you're drunk, ideas sound way better,
Mm-hmm.
and you did it anyway.
So the next time you think about getting drunk before getting a tattoo,
Don't.
just watch one of the Hangover movies.
Yeah, you can't be
Yeah,
affected
you want
by
it like this.
you can't be affected by the alcohol. Now you're an adult. If you say you went out to lunch before you came to your tattoo and you had a drink with lunch or something, of course, that's-
Yeah.
Not a
you're
big
not
deal.
you're not influenced by the alcohol at that point. But
Yeah, but if you had a 12-pack for lunch,
but if you are if your state of mind is being altered by anything, then it's illegal for us to
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah, like I always say, is like if you want to have a wine or a beer with lunch,
Yeah, just-
even if it's on your way here and it just makes you feel better, that's fine. But don't.
That's more, that's more of a mental kind of relaxed thing,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe it does give him that kind of, you know,
the edge off.
5% kind of Advil effect to
Yeah.
just, you know, get them right. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's not affecting their decision making, and they're not going to be spouting like a sprinkler system when you poke them
Yeah.
because their blood's so thin down.
Colorado-
Placebo effect, even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what, yeah,
That's what I'm
that's
talking
the word
about.
I was
So
looking
this
for.
nerve, you know, some people.
in
that's-
Colorado,
Yeah.
it's legal for marijuana, so a lot of people are smoking pot. And they're, you know, I'm going to get stoned, so it won't feel. I'm like, no, it intensifies it, dude. It
Yeah,
makes it
it
so
makes
much
it
worse.
worse.
Like, it's horrible.
Yep, it does.
And it increases your fear level on top of it.
Yeah,
Anxiety
it
level
kicks
goes up.
everything up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Not a good idea.
for most people, you know, there are those individuals that it does help them, it does relax them, it does affect them in a beneficial way. But overall, what I found out is that it just makes it that much more intense.
Absolutely.
All right, here's a good one. Are you supposed to shave when you're getting tattooed before your appointment?
No.
Not necessarily.
Most people know because, you know, if you shave it and you have bad skin and you cause razor bumps and stuff, it's going to make it a little more difficult. But if, like, you're a bear and you're coming in to get something done and you've buzzed it down with some clippers for me,
Oh, yeah,
I
that
appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not a barber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of products out now, like the Manscaped stuff. That
Oh, yeah.
It's just really easy to trim off even the most.
What always
severe
kills
areas
me.
without causing problems.
Because people are like, where do you get your razors? I'm like, it's a disposable bic.
Yeah, it's
They're
the
like, it just
cheapest
really knocks it
razor
off.
you can
I'm
buy.
like, I hose you down with green soap and I'm going back and forth on it. That's,
Well, yeah, there's techniques that we use that
Yeah.
we can make a 3-cent razor
Work.
act like a nice one
Yeah.
for one shave. And so, you know, we throw them away every time, so they're junky razors. But yeah, I have clients that shave, but I'd say more than half the time I still have to end up shaving because either they don't do a good enough job or they don't get the area enough. So, I mean, I love the thought behind it, and it is nice. You know, I always say, well, I didn't get anything for you, you know. But, you know, it's part of the whole rigmarole, you know, the shaving, the prepping of the skin and all that. So, you know, if it makes you feel better, sure, you can shave, but don't be offended if the artist, you know, has to go in and kind of shave a little more and stuff. But like you said, if you're a bear or whatever and you got a beard trimmer or something and you can knock off the first layer, that does make sweeping at the end of the night a little easier.
But if you feel like you're not going to be able to do it without causing bumps, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't come in and look like you shaved with a chainsaw, like for the Brent.
Exactly.
when he was-
Right.
You know your body better than we do.
Yeah.
So if you think you can shave that area and, you know, do
Not
it
damage
better
yourself.
and not damage yourself,
Knock it out.
Yeah. By all
Yeah.
means, you know, I'm not going to complain about that. But
Yeah, it really is part of the process,
yeah,
though.
it really is because I usually, like you said, about 50% of the time, maybe I end up having to pull a razor out anyway and getting some of the edges.
I got asked this just recently, and I kept meaning to ask one of you guys. One of my clients was asking about they're getting a tattoo in a private area, the front, not all the way down, but anyway, female, and she asked whether or not she should go get waxed that day, and I said I don't think
Yes.
so.
Not the same day.
Not the same
same
day
day.
because you want the
Okay.
pores to settle back down.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but you should get waxed.
Yeah, it does help it.
Everyone should get waxed.
All right.
You just want the skin to be as healthy and as ready to go as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe not the day of. I don't know. I've never been waxed.
Maybe a couple
Yeah,
days
definitely the
kinda
day before.
day
yeah,
before.
that might increase the sensitivity too because you're already kind of caused a wound because that does cause ripping and tearing and it does damage a little bit. So it might make it a little more sensitive even if you did the day of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just basically told her, no, they'll shave it for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
trim it.
Not a
please
big deal.
trim it because it's just easier.
Yeah, I don't want to wade through the fucking jungle or nothing. But
Yeah, longer than a half inch, give it a trim.
And when it comes to doing areas of the body, I don't suggest trim the area. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
When it comes to piercing.
That's a kind of a good question though.
We do have scissors, but we don't want to use them.
I would love it if every woman who came in for an ear piercing started shaving the sides of their heads, but that's never going to happen. So
talk to Miley; she can bring it back.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, she'll bring it
DaVo
back.
just likes women with their heads.
yeah,
I do like that, but on top of that, it's like you've not lived until you're trying to put this very delicate piece in, and there's all this hair just keeps falling down.
Yeah, well, have you ever tried
the
tattooing
drapes
neck for 5
I know,
hours with
I
the
know.
same problem?
yeah, and every
I
time
know.
you move or wipe, hair pulls across, and you're
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shave all that off.
Boo hoo!
So if you're gonna shave any, do that.
Life's so hard.
bring a hair tie.
Hair's in the way of this tattoo I'm trying to do.
All right. What should I do if I don't like my tattoo?
There's always suicide.
Oh,
Find
Just
an
had to get
artist.
that out of the
dark
way.
immediately.
Find an artist you're comfortable with and discuss your options, whether it's laser or cover it up or fixing it, or, reviving it, reworking it.
Yeah, there's tons of options depending on what you
Depends on
want.
what you don't like.
Yeah,
Adding
tell
on
us
to
what
it.
you don't like about it, and see if we
See
can.
what we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes, it can go either way. Sometimes people come in, think they're completely sunk, they're fucked, there's no coming out of it, and it's like the simplest thing to make it great. And other times, people come in with the biggest train wreck you could ever imagine and think, oh, it just needs touched up.
Yeah, it's a
So-
1 minute tattoo.
Yeah, you just
really
never
quick and
know.
It's really
That's that
easy.
barroom
You just
tattoo.
go in there, yeah.
But-
And they're like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can cover that up." "Oh, I like it." "Oh, okay. What are you asking me?"
Yeah, yeah, that we do. Every tattoo artist gets stuck in that, that quandary.
Conundrum. Yeah.
Like, what are you asking for? Can it be covered, or you want me to say your buddy
Right.
did a good job?
We've talked about this before.
And don't
Yeah.
ask me how much I would
Honesty
charge
Do you
you.
want to
comes
see
out
my
and-
tattoo and then criticize it? No,
Yeah.
no,
No, I really don't.
Nope.
Well, how much would you have charged? It doesn't matter.
To do that,
Here, take your finger, lick it. Does it rub off?
I would have
It's a
probably,
tattoo.
Success.
I would have probably offered you laser removal if I did that. I wouldn't have charged you. It would have cost me money if I did
Yeah.
that. But every situation is different. But shave it if you want to. If it makes you feel good and you're all excited and you just
Yeah.
got to be doing something because you're getting tattooed
Back
and
to
you're
the
just
shaving thing.
woohoo!
But if not, we'll
He's
handle it.
excited about that.
Yeah, I know.
He's a
Get
barber at
waxed.
heart.
Get
Get
waxed.
waxed.
Is it rude to wear headphones during the session?
No.
Not at all. I
Is-
encourage it if you want to listen to your TikTok or your whatever you're listening to, because I don't want to hear it, and everybody in the room doesn't want to hear it either. And it's very distracting.
And it helps you kind of go off into your own
Yeah,
world.
zone out.
You leave us alone to
Yeah.
to say it say it that way. But it really if you just want to fuck off for however long and be in your headphone, it's not
Yeah, that
offending
doesn't
me.
bother
gives
me a
us
bit.
more focus on your
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just going to be beneficial for everybody.
Right. And there might be those artists out there that are offended by it, but really I
Not
can't. I can't imagine that there's going to be many that are going to be offended because you're relaxing, doing whatever you want, not interfering with anything. As long as you're still and
You're
not distracting me, you're you're golden.
Exactly.
And if the headphones help with that, by all means.
Yeah,
This
sometimes I
kind
wish
of
they
goes
did.
with that. It
Yeah.
says, do you expect conversation or can customers stay quiet?
Yeah,
Stay
it's pretty
quiet.
much the same
Whatever
thing.
makes them comfortable.
Yeah, I'll conversate with you if you want me to. If you don't, I don't need to. I'm
Yeah.
good.
Typically, the way it happens, though, it seems, because of the nerves and everything else, they're, chatty at first, maybe the first 5, 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, then they
And
settle
after
in.
that, the relaxation comes, and then, they start letting themselves get distracted by other things. And the conversation, a lot of times, will just kind of,
Kinda
if
dull.
it's
Fade
not
off.
being spurred, really, it'll just, it'll fade off, and you'll both look up and go, that was 5 hours. How? How?
Right.
With
But-
piercing, I tend to
Yeah.
try to keep the conversation going, just to keep their mind off of what's going on.
Right.
But
It
it's an
depends on how
entirely
they're-
different
It's
animal.
it's great
handling it.
bedside manner. It really,
Yeah.
really is, and that and that is that's a viable point. But I guess it comes down to the artist and then the way they feel about the client. Some clients need that as part of
Yeah.
the thing to make
And you
to
can
keep
read
them in
that.
a state to where they're easier to be tattooed.
Right.
But that still is taking power from the generator.
Yeah.
You know, the more power I can divert to, you know, doing this tattoo, not only I think the better it's going to be, but it's going to be done more efficiently and quickly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to have to remember where I was or what I was doing and everything else. So not that it's catastrophic by any means, but I have noticed, you know, over the years that the more interference or distractions I get, it does affect my work.
It does.
I think
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, as you get older, it gets harder and harder.
So I've had clients that are like, you're doing something very intricate, and like you've talked to them, you've already tattooed them more than once, so you know the way it goes, and you're concentrating on something, and like just out of nowhere, they'll kind of like force conversation. So, what do you think about this? I'm like, what? What do you say? What did you say?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean to be rude, but I wasn't paying attention.
It's a tricky thing
I was
because
tattooing.
back in the walk-in days, you know, it was you always were riffing and talking and yelling and saying fuck as much as you could, and you know, it was a way kind of different environment, but you were doing a tattoo this big and it probably involved tits, so it's like you know, it was a little more relaxed. Now we're being asked to do these pieces that are extraordinarily complicated and take, you know, every ounce of concentration and energy you can put into it to make it the best it can be. So I think it's slowly, because of the demand has changed, you know, we require a different environment or different things
Much
to be able
more
to
effort.
do that.
Yeah.
And most people are accommodating to that, really.
Yeah.
I think there's some artists that's part of their charm is to be that hostess.
Yeah, and that's great.
And that's fine. And even in that case, like you know, I hear generally you guys have that conversation for usually about the first 20-30 minutes of the tattoo.
Yeah.
Then everybody just kind of
Calms
settles
down.
into there's work to be done here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm an entertainer.
He is the entertainer.
Yeah. It's just
But
just the nature of it. You know, that's kind of probably important that you find a tattoo artist that you feel okay with. There's nobody talking.
Yeah.
It goes
Some
both ways.
people
Totally.
just
There'll
aren't
be times.
comfortable with that, and that's cool.
That's a good point.
You
I mean,
know.
ask your artist. And it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys get asked, but I'll have a customer go, "Is it cool if we talk, or do you want quiet?"
Sure.
And I usually tell them, like, I'm good either way. I don't mind being able just to concentrate and go to work. But I mean, if you want to chat, I can. You know,
Now, if it wanes off and I see that they're starting to kind of get in their head and it's becoming more difficult for
then
them,
you
then
pull
I'll
them out
kind
of
of
it.
pull them out of it and keep them preoccupied because it helps them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
Otherwise,
is a
you're
good thing to
looking
do.
up and going, "Yep, he's heading right into the
Oh, he
Well,
puked.
yeah, you can tell their skin changes, their
I know.
demeanor,
The
they
green.
get sweaty,
Yeah.
everything. You can tell
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah,
And usually at that point, like I'm kind of like a little wore down too, like like a kind of near that last little leg of the tattoo, and it's just like, okay, come on, we just got to get through this last part, and you can tell you're kind of losing them, you know, like they're really hurting.
they're struggling every.
That's when I just start blurting out, like, you know, really just insanely stupid questions. And like, you know, just whatever, you know, just to kind of conversate. And
The dad
that's when it
jokes
kind of
come
gets,
up.
the bad jokes, you name it. And that's where it really gets kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of, you know, that banter is kind of one of the reasons why tattooing.
Me too.
Yeah, it's
I
the
love it.
right.
Yeah.
All right, I think
Sometimes
we
towards
did-
the end of the day, man, you're worn out though.
Yeah, you're goofy.
You've entertained, you've tattooed, you've concentrated.
about this.
And like, man,
Yep.
you're
just worn out.
exhausted at the end of the day.
That's why I don't. That's why
I mean,
I'm
you've
single.
masturbated at
One
least
of the
3
big reasons.
times.
Yeah, I mean,
At least twice a break.
we're out of paper towels now.
Oh, it's horrible. You're sticky. You're
Yeah,
hot.
it just.
I've lost a sock.
Okay, the next question is.
How do artists feel about giving facial tattoos?
Oh, that's
You both can talk
good.
on this.
I think they're awesome. It is a little bit, for me personally, it's a little bit more stress
yeah.
because it's on your face unless you're going to wear a ski mask. the rest of
Unless
your
you're
life.
really ugly already.
Well, I mean, you know, and a lot of times people want stuff on their face that's very like those we talked about before. I just want a line or an arrow or a simple tattoo with no shading, like
Hardest tattoo there.
hardest tattoo there is, and you want it on your face where I can't afford any mess ups,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's a harder area to work on because of the skin and the shape and all that.
And you got
too,
to
so.
plant your hands somewhere, and sometimes
Yeah,
the
there's
perfect
no
spot's in their
anchor.
eye socket, and you can't really do that. So you got to balance on there.
It gets
Yeah.
awkward, but you know,
I take it kind of case by case. It kind of depends on what you want and and what it is and if it's feasible.
Yeah.
I overall just kind of my default is I don't really like to do them. But yeah, but I will do them. But just case to case, like.
But like when you do one and pull it off and it's like badass, it's really a accomplishment feeling. For me, I'm like,
Yeah.
all the stress was worth it, man. That thing looks awesome on you right there, and wow, it looks cool.
But I think that comes with any tattoo, doesn't it?
Most times, but like something like
Most
their face.
times.
Well, like, okay, I did this beautiful back piece on you.
Yeah.
How often are you going to wear your shirt off? Because I've
I
never
know,
seen
I
you without
know.
your shirt
Yeah.
in the 20 years I knew you. So
Yeah.
I still got the satisfaction. It's a beautiful piece of art, but not as many people get to see it and appreciate it. When I tattoo like a name of your eyebrow or something, or a word of your eyebrow, and it's all clean and crisp and done perfect, like I'm like, yeah, and everybody sees it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I suppose. I guess that for me, that isn't really a
No.
determining factor. I'm more concerned with how that person feels about it and how I feel I applied it.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are going to see it isn't really important.
Do you
I think you did a great
there's
job on my
an
face.
Ethical,
I do too.
Do you think? Here's a good question. Do you think that the ethical side of it, of how that affects that person's life, if that is
For
solely
me.
on the artist?
Yeah,
I think you guys, there's an inner struggle with that.
Yeah.
it is. But also, it's tattooing. You're not allowed to get tattooed unless you're an adult.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tattoo like a 18 or 19-year-old kid's face.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to happen.
Right.
And 99 to 1.
And half of them are 18, you know?
But
it
like when you're
seems.
30, 40 or whatever, and you've got tattoos like us all over, like I don't feel bad when you want to do like your like I got my face done. Jack did it. Already had a diamond on one side, and now I did the whole side. But I mean, look at me. It didn't.
But you're also established in a career.
Exactly. I'm a
where
20-year
that's
tattoo artist.
not going to affect your ability.
It's
to
not
income.
causing me to, any effects of not make money or.
Yeah.
That's usually one of the first things I bring up during the conversation, meeting the client is, so what do you do? Like,
Well, I'm in college.
oh,
Like,
okay,
cool.
Well,
Did you want to use that when you get out of it, or are you just wasting time and money?
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
mom and dad force you to do that, and now they're going to make you.
Don't tattoo an eagle on your forehead.
Yeah.
case by case,
Yeah, that's why, if it's a younger kid coming in and wants, the latest clothing label or something tattooed on their cheek or
I'm going
something.
to try to talk you out of it.
One that's, I'm not going to get anything out of that.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's, not to be selfish, but I only tattoo because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, that does nothing for me. I know it doesn't fit your face in 2 months, if not 5-10 years. That's gonna. I mean, I did Tommy Hilfiger logos on people back in the day, dude.
And I bet Tommy Hilfiger didn't pay any
How
of
do
them
you
for
how do you
advertising.
think they're rocking that thing? Today, being a 41-year-old dad and with a
Right.
Tommy Hilfiger logo. So, on one end, I know that's none of my business and I shouldn't care. But at the other side, I'm a human being. I have feelings and emotions, and I have to lead my life and make decisions that at the end of the day I feel good about. And you don't have to understand that, So. It really is tricky. I mean, I toiled for years and years about the chick with the tattoo on her neck.
Yeah, I remember.
And and come to find out, she loves it. She embraces that tattoo. Like, I can't even look at her now and imagine that tattoo not being there because I've just not got to know her, but I've interacted with her and seen her in her workplace and everything, and it's like, oh yeah, that she owns
Definitely
it.
settled your mind.
So yeah, but that still was there. It was in there. It was part of my soup for years and years and years. So. That comes into play for some guys, for some people too, I think.
All right. How much should you tip your artist?
All of it. All of it. Every single penny you have.
Yeah, this is that thing I get asked. What's the proper?
All
It's
of it.
Like, how good of a job did I do?
There is no rule of thumb, honestly, in my opinion.
There isn't.
It's like when you go to a restaurant and you ate a $200 meal. Do you tip the whatever percentage, or do you throw like $50, $100 on it because they were attentive, they were awesome, they joked, you didn't miss anything, they were all over it. Like, that guy worked. He deserves whatever I can afford to give him.
And here's the biggest difference is, like, when you're going to a restaurant, those people are making less than minimum
And I
wage.
get that, but it's still a service.
So
If they only
for that
told them that
reason-
before they got the job.
I know. For that reason, that's why there's these standards for like 15, 18,
And I get that.
20%. When you're working in areas like this, or
There
even
is
if you're
no
getting your
status quo.
hair, or you tipping the Uber driver, whoever it is,
Right.
it should have more to do with, like, you know what? That was the best 5 minutes I've spent with a human being in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to kick him $20.
It's not a tip anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a requirement, and a tip is not required.
No,
so
it's a gift.
it's become required.
Yeah.
So it's put this
Yeah.
percentage on it,
Right.
so a person can do a completely terrible job and still feel justified in going, "You didn't give me enough."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
like
I
we
didn't
had the
pay
other
you.
night.
I didn't pay you over the top for a service that you didn't even earn the $6 an hour for.
Yeah.
Because why? Because that's not a tip.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I tip very well. I get it. I was a busser. I got tipped. I mean, I haven't always been a super awesome, perfect, handsome tattoo guy. You know, I was a normal person once. I remember what it was like. But you know, so it kind of takes the man, you did a good job out of it. They're like, well, whether I did or not, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
That's why I always say they're not, they're not assumed, but they're appreciated.
Yeah,
Right.
we very much appreciate it.
Right.
So
because that's the
and-
extra, I'm going to buy something stupid for myself money.
Well, yeah.
And I think the tip that would be okay is just whatever
Whatever you're comfortable with.
If you
Yeah.
really, really liked your tattoo and you were charged X amount and you thought it was worth more than that,
Then give them some more.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
no percentage. There is no number.
No.
There's no etiquette, really.
Right.
We don't expect it.
No.
Yeah,
no.
if you showed up and was like, I want an eagle on my arm, and this is what I'm thinking, and then when you do it, they're like, dude, you totally took it so much further and better than what I was expecting. And then that's kind of what that shows is like, man, let me give you like $20 or whatever it is, a few more dollars.
And this is
And
kind of the
that's
point
awesome.
I was trying to make, and maybe I didn't make it well, is we're not in a situation where our income
right.
we need to live by
Yeah, I don't
includes tips.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's not
Tips
yeah,
is disposable income to us.
exactly.
It
Now,
shows
I'm not saying you
appreciation.
shouldn't tip because we appreciate it greatly.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's not the same thing as like somebody who's waiting tables or somebody
Right.
that's that kind
In
of.
our
yeah, good
industry,
point.
giving somebody a tip is that, man, I was expecting a good job, but wow.
Yeah.
You were nice, you killed it, you
If you have
did
to,
whatever it was that was above and beyond to them that they weren't.
And
It wasn't what they were
And
expecting.
tips can come in lots of different ways. You could bring in something for us to put on a shelf and dust.
Yeah.
You could bring in, a really nice craft beer or a nice bottle of wine.
You can bring your friends back to me.
or
If
you
you-
can give us the number to your really hot aunt. Whatever it is.
if you have to ask, do I tip? Then you shouldn't.
Probably
Right.
yes.
Because you should feel like, man, I got to give you extra. You did kill
Yeah,
it.
you should almost be
I
compelled.
don't care if people do this or not. I appreciate you. It fucking rules. Here's the money. So yeah, if you have to ask whether you should tip or not, then no, don't. You tip when
Exactly.
you feel like you kind of have to because they did a killer job.
Yeah.
You really appreciate it, and the words you say can't get you there. But you know what? Everybody knows what $50 is,
Right.
and so. I think that's the easiest way.
Yeah. And
If
like
you're
you said-
conflicted whether you tip or not, don't do it.
And like you
it's-
said, there's lots of different ways. Like if you don't have any extra money because you saved what you needed for your tattoo and you're blown away,
We get that.
but you
Yeah.
brought me 3 of your friends in the next couple months to get tattooed, that's a tip to me, dude.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
I mean, what better flattery is there than they brought their buddy to you
And their
to get work?
parents, and
Yeah.
their girlfriend,
like,
and their
dude, it's a
brother,
really,
and-
it's a really rewarding feeling. Like,
Yeah.
man, that's awesome. You've earned that rapport with them.
Yeah, and
It's everything.
Like I've gotten things like you guys have over the years. They'll bring in a bottle of booze, or
yeah,
they'll bring
everything.
in a free dinner at the steakhouse, or they'll give you, oh hey, my uncle processes deer. Here's
Yeah.
a pound of deer
Something
jerky
they
kind of
thought
thing.
about you.
Yeah.
Right, and
Outside
all
of here,
of
like,
that.
that's just awesome.
It matters
dude.
just as much as as money or anything else.
It's all
It's-
about it's showing appreciation through money.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what a tip is.
I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to tip if you just were tipping because that's
Because
what
you
you
thought
do.
you had to.
I have
Yeah.
to.
Like screw that.
Yeah.
That's not a tip. That's part of the price, and that's
And
not
we
what
all
it's
know
called.
that there are certain people, especially younger people, that are on such a tight of budget
Yeah.
they can't afford.
I'd rather tattoo you. No, I'm not going to get tipped than not tattoo you
But-
because you're not going to.
You doing whatever you do and putting yourself in that position by not managing your money or being in that job that doesn't pay you enough, that's more on you.
Yeah.
That's not everybody else's responsibility because I do this and I don't make enough.
I
Like
get that. But what I'm saying
you
is
still
some
got to
people can
perform,
afford.
man. You still
I
gotta
have
do
some
it.
clients that can afford to pay me or give me a tip,
Yeah.
$100 bill at the end of it. Then there's some that it's like
That can't.
$2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I can do.
But
And
you know what? If that's all they got,
and it means the same.
it means
Yeah,
the
it
same.
does.
It's the same. you know,
free
the
money.
amount isn't necessarily that important.
It's that action. It's like that was it what they used to say about when we were kids, when you get a gift you weren't crazy about, it was the thought that counts.
Yeah.
It's the effort. It's that thought. It's
And
that
who knows-
appreciation, man.
And who knows what $10, $20, $50 is to them.
to them.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Right.
That's
So-
kind of what I was trying to get
Yeah,
at there.
exactly.
the fact that they just make the gesture and the effort, whether it's a 6-pack of Coke or you know, a steak dinner or whatever it is, it's like, man, that's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, it's just saying
Always
thank you a little
appreciate it.
extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
Alright.
next?
Next, this is a really good one.
Okay.
What
Doubt
do
it.
most people not realize about life as a tattoo artist?
Lots of things.
That's all you are.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You live it.
especially today. That's all you. That's all you are. You're not. It's not a job. It's
No, there's
stupid
no
and
part-time
gays.
life.
You are. You're the first thing you are on planet Earth is a tattooer.
Yep.
Everything else you build around
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you have to fit it to it.
It's all encompassing. It's all consuming.
Yep.
It's man, how do you explain
It's
a
this?
not
customer-
something that you could punch a clock on.
One
No.
of Brent's customers asked us, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
He goes,
actually.
so like how many hours do you guys actually like put in?
and
And we kind of chuckled and we were like, well, we're open from 1 to 8, 5 days a week. But then when we close at 8, me and Jack and Brent, a lot of times we'll stay here from 8 o'clock from anywhere till 8 to midnight or 8 till 5, 6 in the morning, drawing on the next day's stuff or fixing up a piece that's coming in that we're trying to get ready for.
Talking
or
about a piece one of us has
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
up, and
Yep.
we're coming together on it.
and collaborating back and forth
Yeah.
to get ideas and grow it and really develop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so when I think I added it up one week, just being joking. We were in therapy, me and my wife, and they were asking me, so I added up the numbers. And like, I think those weeks, me and Jack had put something like 100 plus something hours in that week.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it
easy for
happens.
you guys to do
Oh,
a
yeah.
12-hour shift.
Oh, yeah.
And that, and you go home, and you're also
And you do-
Then you do it at home.
yeah, you do it at home.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
eat, breathe, and sleep tattooing.
Yeah.
That's
It
I
is
think
what you are.
that's
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
that's what a lot of people maybe don't understand is that it's like I've said before. It's like you go to see a favorite band and they play for 45 minutes.
You don't
Dude.
see everything else that's going on.
That 45 minutes took hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Literally.
Months.
It took hundreds of hours for them to get up there and be able to do that for 30 minutes. And tattooing is very, very similar. You're not there for you're only there for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not there for all the prep time, everything that has to be done to be able to put that show on. And it's a
And that's why
It's one of
you can't half-ass it if you really want to get anywhere.
It's one of the
Yeah.
toughest jobs you'll ever love.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
It's like being a hooker.
You don't
Well,
get
I
up in the
have a
morning,
feeling-
put your hat on, and go, I'm going to go make tattoos, and then click, I punch out,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to.
Just
Go
the
down to
tip.
the-
And at the
Whatever.
same
Go down to the
time,
tattoo mine.
yeah, there's nothing you could talk me into doing.
Me neither.
Other than this.
I wouldn't
tattoo
trade
mind.
tattooing for anything
Yeah,
in the world.
there's really nothing you could offer me that
Nothing.
would make me not want to do this anymore. So,
Me neither.
It's one of those. It's like a heroin addict.
Yeah.
They love their heroin and they
If
don't
I
care
couldn't
they're a
do this, I
heroin
would
addict
die.
because it's great.
And everything they do revolves around getting
Heroin.
more heroin.
Yeah,
And
it
needles.
really is kind of an addiction like that in a way. But if I have to have one, that's not so bad.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty
Dude,
healthy.
during the shutdown, we
Oh,
built,
we were all
built
going
the shop.
nuts.
At your,
Yeah,
at
even
your
during the
place,
shutdown,
we had to
I was
do that.
building it with Jimmy a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
It's like
And we were both every day going to see, like, dude, if we don't get to do a tattoo soon, I'm going to freak.
It's-
So we were tattooing each other, like,
Yeah.
well, just do something.
yeah, it's like a nail, and there's no wood on the planet.
Nope.
It's like, well, what the fuck good am I?
Yeah.
So what do you need
I
me
have no
for?
purpose.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
lost.
Oh, I'm nuts.
And the longer you do it,
did
like
too.
I've been doing it over, half the time I've been on this planet, out of the time I've been on this planet, I've been a tattooer more than half of that time. I've been
Yeah,
on
I'm
the planet.
past that too.
Right.
Piercing.
So you get to a point to where that's what
you.
you are.
It's your purpose
It's
on
part,
this planet.
and it's hard to just look out the window and not look out the window as a tattoo guy.
Yeah.
Everything
His tattoo.
starts in that nucleus. So
Yeah.
it's wild. And I can't speak for everyone, but I know a lot of tattooers that are, they're like that. If the tattoo is like, a weak analogy is like the heart.
Yeah.
You know, without that, it doesn't matter if your kidneys are good.
There's a little
Can't
bit of
go halfway with it.
There's a little bit of tattoo in everything, every nuance of their life. It is for me.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in my life that's not touched by tattooing.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, it's a great job.
I love
it's
it.
awesome, and I say job as a joke, you know, to myself because it's not a job, you know.
No, I haven't worked a day
I
in my
don't
life
work.
for 20 years.
I don't work
now.
You know,
I've been on permanent vacation since 1994.
yeah,
I've been on summer vacation since 1999. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
the greatest thing in the
it's
world.
incredibly rewarding.
And that's why people are like, oh, you know, they talk about life and death. And I'm like, I'm open for reincarnation because if I can get this lucky again,
Oh yeah,
I will
that's
ride
why
the
I
hell
hope
out
it
of this
doesn't
thing.
exist because I know I got so lucky this time. I don't. I know
I'm
it's
betting I can
coming
win the
next
lottery
time.
again. I'm going to do it, man.
No,
Let's do it.
I hope you do, buddy. But I ain't taking that chance. I'm not a gambling man by nature, so no.
But
Want to
there's-
hear something pretty crazy?
Yeah.
What?
I've known a lot of tattoo artists in my life. And before I ever went to any of their houses, I always thought their houses were going to be decked out with art. Like it was just going to be decorated. Jack's the first fucking tattoo person I've ever met with art in his house.
Right.
Only one.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
a mechanic. He ain't got a new car. He's got 500 junkers, and he's always working on whatever he's driving because
Right.
he works on everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's like a carpenter's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and that illustrates my point is because the focus is on your job.
Yeah.
This is the place where
Yeah.
I re-energize to do my job. This is the place I come to relax so I can do my job.
Yep.
This is the place I come to work and draw so I can do my job. It's not
Yeah.
it's not so much a showcase of stuff. It's
Right.
I need this place because they won't let me sleep at the shop.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because our home tends to be. I've dated. I dated her. She's like, you live at the shop. You don't live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our second home.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I was talking to my landlord the other day, and I'm like, I'm never here. And he goes, yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, if I added up the hours, I'm definitely at the shop more hours
than
than
I'm
I'm
at home.
Yeah.
Especially conscious.
Yes.
Like I'm
Yeah.
normal, my normal is I get home. If I'm lucky, I'll hang out for 20, 30 minutes so my dog can eat and he can go shit and I can let him out. And then I go to bed. And then I wake up and I get ready and I come to work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm only there to, as a place to crash and let my dogs live there.
Yep.
It's like it's my dog's house, but again, you couldn't offer me anything
trade
that
it
I
for the
would take
world.
rather. So.
And that's why I think it's hard for a lot of people to understand, well, God, you were here all day and all night. Well, yeah, that didn't bother you. Well, no, when I walk in here, it's just like walking in home.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable here a lot of times
Right.
than I am at home. At home, I'm walking around going, okay, I can't tattoo, I can draw, but what else can I do? Because I can't tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of wacky.
Hey, I'm going to
but-
go up to the shop. I got some stuff to do. I'll be back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
You
how
have
many
a
times I'm
purpose
like,
there.
I'll just stop by there for a few minutes and everybody's here.
Yeah, at home, I'm
And
lost.
It's a Tuesday or Wednesday when we're normally closed.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
what to do when I'm at home. I'm lost.
Yeah.
I don't have no purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just filling space.
Yeah. Give them
I've
too long
tried to
without
get
it.
better at shutting that down.
I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's been times where, you don't want to shut it down, but you feel like you've got to fight to get some
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So I don't want to tempt fate.
Right.
That's why I water and pay attention to that plant more than anything else, because without that plant, it's not creating oxygen in this room and I'm going to
Yeah.
fucking die kind of
'Cause
thing.
it can really peter into that
Yeah.
burnout.
Oh, I know.
If you don't watch it.
Very close.
And thank God, I mean, and part of what helps me is living in Iowa and there being a winter where I'm forced to not ride my motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm forced to not mow the lawn. I'm forced to not
Yeah.
feel guilty because I'm not outside soaking up the sun. I have to stay inside. I have to slow down. I have
Yeah.
to, and during like this break was so good for me because through the summer, it's
It
just
was-
hammer, hammer,
this-
hammer, hammer, no days off, hammer,
The
hammer,
year
hammer.
that we had in general was just insane.
Yeah. So
I don't even know how many clients we had come through the door. I know that just on the piercing side, it was close to 1,500.
And thank
Yeah.
you to each and every one of you out there.
Oh,
Thank
man.
Very
Yeah.
much. Thank you.
you're the reason I get to be a frickin' maniac lunatic.
you. Me too.
But
It couldn't be me without you.
yeah. So man, I can't even express how fucking lucky I feel to be able to do it.
especially after coming out of the year we had before that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
What a
yeah.
turnaround.
And yeah, so this shutdown that we had, it ended up cool with the days that we're normally not here at the studio, and the holidays fell. It really gave me probably the most time within a tight group of days that I've had off since the shutdown, at least.
Yeah.
It really does help you kind of refuel and recharge and get hungry to get in the skin again.
But by the time it was over, I was itching to get back.
Oh,
I was
man. Way
starting to
before.
I was starting to feel weird.
Somebody's like, "Oh, you have the next 2 days off," and I'm like, "I absolutely hate having days off."
Yeah, I'm the same way. In the winter, I'm like, in the summer, it's like, shit, yeah. I'm on my bike, if nothing else. I know there's 10 chores to do, but at very minimum during the day, I'm riding my bike, you know?
Well, yeah, the Christmas part, the first part of the break was pretty cool and felt good, relaxing.
Yeah.
Just 15 days.
But you came back for that. We had that day, and then we were off for the New Year's. I was kind of like, I even tattooed one of my days off.
Oh, you mean, during the Christmas break?
It's just kind of weird to come in and work one day and then 2 days off.
Yeah,
it's
very
like,
very odd.
It's like you got to the party and everything's going great, and then everybody left.
Yeah, and you're like,
it's like, wait.
It's like, wait,
but the party's
there's
going
more
on for
partying
another.
to do.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to go home. Okay, I'll
I don't
go
know what
home
to do with
now.
my hands.
Yeah.
Good
point.
What do my hands? What do I?
All
Just
right.
tattoo with them. That'll be
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Next question. White ink, yay or nay?
For highlights, it's great.
It's
where
super
are you using
yay
it? Yeah.
and super nay. Again, to be repetitive, it really depends on the situation and how and what you expect out of it and how you're going to use
I
it.
think they mean white ink tattoos.
Okay, no. Overall, I'd say it's just a waste of time. More
That's where you play the
frustration than it's
womp, womp,
worth.
womp.
Yeah.
You might as well have, I don't know, the distilled water tattooed.
If you want a tattoo that doesn't look like you have a tattoo, then don't get tattooed.
Yeah.
go do something
it's
else
that
to get
simple.
that experience.
There's, there has been success with all white tattoos,
Absolutely.
but it's all depends on what you think success is, really. If you're expecting it to look like you took white out and drew a picture on your skin and
Not
it's just
happening.
gleaming, then forget about it. It's not going to happen.
In other words, have lower expectations.
Well, it's about your expectations.
Yeah.
So if kind of, again, you want to get that, well, it's for me, it means something to know I have it inscribed in me, it's a part of me now kind of thing, but you don't really want to show that to anyone, but still you need that done as a process and to wear it, at least knowing you do. Okay, then get a white tattoo. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
But if you're getting it because you can't wait to show it off, it's going to be the coolest thing ever, and everybody's going to love it.
Nah.
It's not like that.
Nope.
It's not the best.
And of course it comes down to what the design is, where it's at, your skin, all that stuff depends on what that's going to look like at the end of the day.
I personally don't care to do them because once you put a stencil on, it's purple. When you put white tattoo ink over a purple stencil, it changes the color of the white to like a light purple.
Yeah.
And like not the whole thing evenly, just in certain spots. And this, it gets real ununiformed. And like, it messes with my head. It
takes more energy to do a lesser tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
to
not
the
gonna have great
artist, it
results.
seems like, well, I'm going to have to try 3 times as hard and it's not going to look half as good.
Right.
Do you think it's a bragging rights skill thing that the artist?
I think part of it is artists that don't know any better. They take the picture right after it's done and it looks pretty cool.
Which I think is
and-
another ego boost little fuck.
Right.
Well, it's lying.
But I don't look at white ink. I don't look at
turn the contrast up just a little bit.
yeah.
I don't look at white ink like the other pigments that I tattoo with. The other pigments are pigments.
It's like
white,
water.
White is like water, and it's for highlights. It's for dots here and there to accentuate,
Lightening
or
other
to
colors
lighten
up.
a little bit out here and there, or to bring colors out. It's not like a painting where like that queen behind you. It's got that white background, and then that's not going to happen on skin.
No.
Not feasible. No. So I'm not going to waste the time, effort, and money
Again,
to try to create something that it ain't possible.
yeah,
to have.
there's those rules that we work inside, and they don't correlate with colored pencil or paint or anything else. It's its own thing, and the way white can and works the best in most cases is, oh, this blue is a little too dark, I'm going to lighten it up, I'm going to put some white in it, or oh man, the gleam in this eye, and just to pop this up just to make it lighter than the skin color. That's really the idea behind white and tattooing. It's not to make it white,
right?
It's to make it lighter than the skin that's already there.
And I think people think that, I'm going to suntan and it'll show up.
Nope.
Some
It'll darken
crap
it.
that they've heard on the internet.
Reverse.
None of that stuff happens.
Yeah.
No, it's like watercolor kind of in a sense, because the whitest part of the paper is just the white paper.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
So
using the paper.
by adding anything, you're not making it brighter.
Nope.
So your skin is
as bright as it gets.
That's the
really.
brightest spot. Yeah.
Really. So I mean, like, white help, like it shows up when you're using it for highlights and stuff.
It shows up best when you use less.
Yes.
Yeah.
because
Like
of
very
contrast.
little bit of it. Very little bitty dots and spots of it will set up something off.
And I
but
think
it's very
this
little
is
in
a-
it.
This is a good point too. Why white tattoos just don't cut it is there's no contrast.
No.
Yeah,
So
there's nothing to
white's going to
base it
look
on.
way whiter and pop if you
Yeah.
got a black
Yeah,
near
like
it.
in an
If you have
eye.
a dark next to it, because compared to that black, that's
Yeah, 'cause
white.
you got that black pupil.
But compared to your skin,
boom, that
that's
white dot by it.
not that different.
No.
So it's how you use it, where you use it. If you use it correctly, it can be an amazing thing and totally transform a tattoo.
Yep.
But if you try to overuse it or try to use it for purposes that it's really just not meant for, then I think the results are kind of lacking.
Yeah, totally.
Right. I'm thinking about getting a tattoo with UV reactive ink. Do you have any experience there?
We've talked about
Most
this.
everything that glows in the dark does have a trace of phosphorus in it, which is toxic to a human being. I don't know how far they've come with developing inks that glow in the dark or blacklight or whichever it is. I personally don't care to use them because I'm not a scientist. I don't know what it'll do to you, and I don't want to be responsible for giving you cancer or whatever it does to you.
Yeah, I've got
same.
my main two reasons are I won't tattoo you with anything that I won't tattoo me or my own mother with.
Right.
I won't use a machine or a needle or do anything that I would not get myself
Yep.
or my mother. Because there's things that you do, but you wouldn't want your mother doing. You know what I
Right,
mean? So
right.
it's like, well, fuck it, I'd do it. But you know what?
I wouldn't do that for mom.
Nah, I wouldn't. You
Nope.
know, if this was my mom, I wouldn't do it. So, so that is one of my caveats. The other one is, when I was looking into it years ago when it came out, it's basically like this clear liquid. You can either tattoo it on its own and it will show up only when there's a black light shown
Yeah,
at
it's
it,
light reactive.
or you can mix it with other colors and it'll make that color,
Yep.
glow too. There's barely anything in this world that starts off clear and stays
Clear.
Yep.
almost everything that is made with chemicals that's clear always discolors.
Yes.
Always. So my thought was, well, what's this going to do? You know, how is this going to look? Is it going to discolor? Is it
Right.
going to do something weird later on? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tattoo my mom to find out.
find out,
You know, and it's not like, to me, it was just kind of a gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh,
Totally.
the eyes glow. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's
Like
not
I
worth
said, if you have extremely low expectations, because the few that I've seen one, I think, in person.
Mm-hmm.
We sat there with the black light, literally that far away
from
from
it
it,
to see it.
and it barely glowed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had
Because
one.
it's got to make its way through all your layers of your
Yeah.
skin to get there in the first place.
And every year you wear it, the UV sun, the
Yes.
UV rays
Yeah,
are
beats it
destroying.
down. Now, back in the day, when I pretty much started tattooing, and we were still using a lot of powder pigments from Philadelphia Eddie and the pigments that were coming from Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
The pink, the Japanese pink
Gloves.
that came from the powder that you mixed yourself, had such a heavy content of pigment in it. When you go in a club with black light, if you had a lot of it saturated, it would glow and react in it. But that's because the light couldn't penetrate. It was reacting off of that pigment that's under your skin. It was so heavy.
Reflecting almost.
Yes.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, and it looked neat, but like it better be done saturated evenly, or it looks like crap.
Yeah, it looks like cottage cheese.
And it better be in just the right spots that you wanted bright pink, neon pink.
yeah,
on
it's
your stuff.
I've always looked at it as kind of a gimmick.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
You know,
It's right up there with. I remember seeing footage of this a long time ago. Somebody had gotten a tattoo that was designed for the 3D glasses,
I've
the
seen
green,
those.
black,
Sure.
reds. It's like you're gonna walk around the rest of your life with that blurry ass thing on your arm.
Yeah, you carrying a pair of 3D
you
glasses in your
just-
pocket so people can look at it all the
Yeah.
time, or what?
but the other side of that is
It's challenging.
no, it looks neat.
Yeah.
Even without the glasses, it kind of is that throwback.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still can tell what it is.
get it.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
still the aesthetic of even if you have the glasses or not. Now the glow in the dark shit, hey, it doesn't even matter unless
Yeah,
you're
it
at a
doesn't
rave.
really affect-
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know,
really-
oh, you work at Spencer's? Great, get a black. You know,
So you're 60. Do you
You're
still
going-
find your way around black
You're going to
lights?
the roller skating rink,
You know,
and,
yeah,
and the black light live bowling.
yeah.
That's
and-
about it. That's the only time I ever encountered any of this.
Yeah, I've seen some
Strip clubs.
neat photos of tattoos that have used it, and
Right.
it's really neat. But just like most every other tattoo photo you see, there's something has been done to it. and you're seeing it in its best. You're not seeing it after 10 years. You're not seeing it, you're seeing it right after it's done. So you can get a little bit of false
Kind of impractical.
hope. I guess.
Yeah.
So you think we have
The
time
3Ds
for
were
one
neat.
more?
Yeah, one more. I got to pee.
Have you ever done hand poking or want to learn?
Oh, man, I learned. That's how I learned. That's how I started.
Yeah.
I did a couple.
Sewing needle, wrapped a thread around the end, dipped it in
some Indian
Higgins drawing ink or Pelican if you could find it.
Yep.
And
But no,
draw
I don't wanna-
whatever on them and
I don't
poke
want to.
it dot by dot.
What is it when you go backwards? Regress. Yeah, I don't want to. I like using modern machines that I can do better, more controlled, cleaner work.
I'm wondering if maybe they're talking more about the
Tapping.
traditional
Tapping?
tapping.
You mean Polynesian?
Well, you got the poking, and then you got the tap with the hammers, which was like Oriental Japanese and stuff.
I'm thinking that's probably what.
Which is just a primitive way of doing what
Japanese
you guys are
don't
doing
use a mallet. Maori people use a mallet.
Yeah, they
but
carved.
the Japanese use the
long stick.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I've never done it. I've never been tattooed by it. I've seen incredibly breathtaking works of art done with it, but it's really just like a lot of things. If it's more important the journey to get there, then that makes sense. If the destination is the point, what the fuck does it matter how you got there?
Yeah.
So, for some people, they want to experience that to maybe understand or just get a taste of that
It's
type
more
of thing.
of a ceremony.
Yeah,
We had a guy that used to do it in Richmond.
It is to you with whatever.
And
it is whatever you want.
The guy, I forget his name, but he was the master of
Hiroshi.
Hiroshi or something. He does it, and he'd come to the Richmond convention. And when he would do tattoos like that, people that would schedule, he would come around and enlist a couple of us because you had to have 2 or 3 people to stretch the skin.
Yeah.
While he did the poking, it's more of a ceremony, ceremonial thing. It's not just I got my machine set up. We want this design. That's what we're gonna do. And I loved it being part of it. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't really have the time to dedicate to learn how to teach you to stretch, and then I learned to poke you and make
it's
it
kind of like
it is,
like the mechanics of it is a lot different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I respect the tradition.
Some of the technique is the same, but the reality is most modern tattooing is based off trying to make things look like those did.
Mm-hmm.
When we were, we have like the classic American flash style tattooing. The reason why this whole renaissance started in the first place was things like, oh wow, this guy did this huge Polynesian piece and he did it all by hand. How did he do that? How can I do that with the equipment I have? Right. And the same thing with the Japanese. That's why they were such a huge influence on Western tattooing.
Some people still like to drive cars that you got to hand crank the thing to start it.
It's just personal.
Does that mean it doesn't work? It doesn't get you there? No. It's not fun? It's not whatever? No, it's valid. It's super valid. But if you're trying to get to work, that's not what you're going to use.
I ain't got time for that.
That's the important part, is getting to work, not feeling good or experiencing history. So, I don't have the time to learn it to the extent to where I'd be willing to spend the time, because I don't have the time to learn it. If it's something I could learn on my off time and not have to employ other people and all that, then it might be something. But
it might be fun to go to Polynesian island.
When I went to Japan, they're just as crazy about the American way of tattooing, the modern machines and the styles and the art. They're as nuts about that as like people here are about the Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really neat because you go over there and they're just like, you're American, this is how you do it. Like, oh my God, do this with me. And like, cool.
And that style of tattooing lends itself to particular, not only designs, but sizes of designs.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You very rarely see those practices when they're doing something small.
No.
The culture, if you were getting tattooed, you were getting
big tattoo.
Most of the time you're getting large coverage, whether that's Japanese or Maoris or whatever tribal people. They would, so their tools were a little more large scale, we'll say, and forgiving in that aspect. They weren't reproducing a Bugs Bunny with 15 lines within a square quarter inch of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's valid. It's awesome. I would like to experience it, no matter whether it was the Japanese or Maori style or whatever it was, an alternative style would be fun.
I've got one on my leg when we were Sturgis. Chad.
Oh yeah.
From Hawaii came over and we all got.
Oh, that'd have been cool.
Tattoos in the driveway. We set up cardboard.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep, and we made a little ceremony out of it, and everybody was there, and we had a stretcher, and
that's fun.
It was awesome. Cool. And like 12 of us got little stuff done, just little stuff done, but it's very rudimentary.
Yeah.
You got a turtle or a goat or a friendship sign.
Yeah, and I think that style of tattooing is 51% ceremony and 49%.
Yeah, which is the point of it. That was
the experience.
That's where all this comes from.
It was
it's all
more,
rite of passage.
I belong. I've crossed a bridge.
Tribal,
Yes.
tribal connections.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I've only seen it in the flesh done, I think once. It was at a convention. There was a guy there doing, he didn't have a table in the whole place. It was just on the floor, and there was pillows and...
That's how Hori does it.
Yeah, and he was just sitting there, and he was doing his thing. That's the only time I've seen it, and it's intriguing. It's really neat.
It's fascinating.
And if you haven't seen it done, look, jump on YouTube and look at traditional Japanese tattooing and stuff. You think... If you've ever looked at American style tattooing and thought it looked brutal,
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh my God!
That and the whole tradition, the Polynesian, they would jump in the ocean as soon as they were done.
Well, if you really want to see a step above that,
imagine.
it's the Maori, because they actually carve. They take bone, it looks like a small chisel, and they gouge the design
I've watched that before.
Dude, and if you make any grimace or noise,
you can't.
then it's over.
Yeah, you're done.
It's over.
You're disgraced forever, and you can never finish it.
Nope.
That's the same with the paya. The men, they get the paya just below the knee and right under their chest, kind of whatever. And they get that done. And I think it's a 5 or 7 day ceremony. And it has to be done.
And you think about
one
how
after the other.
sensitive some of those areas are.
Oh, it's some of the most sensitive areas they cover. It's crazy.
I mean, I see why they said they're men and warriors after that, because if you 100% are. That's one of the toughest things.
Yeah, if you go through that, you can stand about.
You can do anything
on a battlefield and stick your tongue out at just about anybody.
Yeah,
and at the same time, at the same time, though, if you show discomfort or pain during those 7 days, you're done.
Yeah.
And you walk around and disgrace the rest of your life with an unfinished paya, and everybody knows you're a coward.
Yep.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, man.
Well, but
it's a heck of a do or don't do.
There's not very many unfinished payas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No. As bad as that hurts, your pride, your honor, your family, your wantingness to progress in this society overcomes all that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's part of what it's proving to you, is that your brain is way stronger than any type of pain receptor or anything else.
You've taken on
powerful
the responsibility of the honor of your family name.
Yeah, it's
and that's part. I mean,
that's a big
even
deal.
if you're getting just a little tattoo, and it's your first tattoo, and it's part of your family tradition.
Oh yeah.
Or your first piercing, that is part of the process.
That's
it's
a
not
good
to
point.
that extreme. But it's still at that same process.
But maybe it is
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably at the base roots of it, it probably is almost exactly like it is for a tribal member of another society to get their tattoo, to feel like they've joined that part of that society. Yeah. Because like you have people you've been piercing for years, and they'll bring in their children or their
grandkids.
or their
rite of passage.
And I'm sure the excitement that they feel having their father or their mother or their uncle bring them in and get this procedure done, they feel like, hey, look, I'm doing what you've done, my elder that I look up to. You're seeing me be strong and get this done, and now I've got it done. I've moved closer to you. I've shown you something, and you've seen that, so I know I've proven that. So, and I think that's what it's all about, is proving something to yourself, but at the same time reassuring yourself that I'm moving in the right direction. I'm closer to this person who I look up to and who I need to become. And
it was a huge moment when my daughter came out and got her nose and her septum done, and she didn't make any. She didn't grumble. She didn't cry. Like, she was a trooper. Like, I was very proud.
Yeah.
And also, I had to do it after her.
And isn't that exactly what the Maori people and a lot of these people? That's exactly why it's done.
Yeah, we're bonded.
And I think that's why it's gained such popularity in Western culture. Is that was lacking in Western culture for a long time.
Yes,
that's. I think you're right.
Especially in America after. When the population started to move out of the country into the cities, and everybody's national, Irish, German, all that stuff started to fade away.
Yeah.
The more that faded away, the more that was lacking.
Yeah.
And I do think that's why it's had such a resurgence.
Well, in our grandparents' day, it was military.
Yeah.
If you got discharged on anything besides honorable, that was it. It was like failing your tattoo.
Yeah.
It was, you were done. You were
You
nothing.
went to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you were honorably in the military and served and came through it, then you accomplished something.
Yeah.
All right. Jess is getting
All right.
antsy,
Yeah, I
can
got to
tell.
piss.
Well, you've been watching or listening to Q&A in the Kitchen. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you liked it. If you would like to hear more, subscribe where you're at. Also share with other people. And check out our merch store. Links in the description.
And I want to throw this in.
Yeah.
If we get 1,000 likes on this, the next episode we will not have pants on.
Okay. I don't... Well...
Are we red chili pepper in it?
Did we
No,
not talk about that?
No, we did
How
not.
about shirtless?
Okay.
Either way, no pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
1,000 likes,
nobody
pass it
wants to
around.
see. Anyway, till next time, here's hoping all your tattoos and piercings filled with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we would all hope to see you for your body piercing and tattooing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.